Hi, English 1 students. I wanted to welcome all of you to the very last chapter in our course, and this covers Romeo and Juliet, right, which is the famous work by William Shakespeare. This is part of nearly every single ninth grade curriculum across the board, so you and every other ninth grader in the world, well, at least in the United States, is probably working on this, okay? So what I wanted to do was just kind of walk through some of this. Now, you'll notice that, you'll notice very early on that when you're reading this play, it can be somewhat difficult because it's a language that's not necessarily really used much anymore. Obviously William Shakespeare is famous for a reason, and that's because he was a phenomenal writer and a very prolific writer at that time, coming out of England. So just to kind of hop right in, okay, so week 32, you are going to do 9.01 to 9.03, which is really kind of a backup, background information. So a lot of this is, it talks about Elizabethan drama, and number 2 is about behind the scenes, and then 9.3 starts with Act 1, Scene 1, and it gets right in, okay? One thing that I strongly encourage you to do is if you go to the website up above on the right hand side, you'll see something called No Fear Shakespeare. Now, what that does is that takes all of his language and it rewrites it in modern language so it makes a little bit more sense to you, okay? Now, I also strongly encourage you to keep looking through the internet. You can find a lot of really great stuff. As I said, every ninth grader in the United States is learning this. So lots and lots of teachers have created lessons. Lots of kids have done PowerPoint projects. So if you just type in absolutely any, if you type in Romeo and Juliet, Act 1, Scene 1, you'll see condensed versions of it. You'll see kids acting it out. You'll see scripts from plays. You'll see cartoons. So go ahead and use what's out there in the internet world, okay? One thing that I do strongly encourage as well is for you to watch the film, okay? And right now, as far as I know, there's 3 major Romeo and Juliet films. The first one was in 1968 by Franco Zeffirelli. The second one in 1996 that was directed by Baz Luhrmann, and that is starring Leonardo DiCaprio and the other girl that's on that other movie, Claire Danes. And then the most recent one is 2013, which was directed by Carlo Carlet. And you can probably find those at any video store. You can also find them on Netflix, and you might be able to find them on YouTube for free. Okay. So what I want you to do for week 1 or for week 32 is simply reply to me and tell me which version of the film you think you're going to watch, or if you're not going to watch any and you just want to stick with the book. Okay, so just to kind of give you a real quick heads up as to what this week is going to look like. Again, you are going to be doing Elizabethan drama, which is the backup, all right? So, obviously all of this back is here. I wanted to remind you, you can always highlight this, and then on your screen you'll have a microphone and they'll read it to you if you don't want to actually read it. But this does give a lot of background, and it goes right through, okay? So a lot of these are just asking questions back and forth. What are comedies? What are tragedies? Again, so this is all about the background information, all right? And section 2 is going to be behind the scenes, and this gives you a lot more information about actually Shakespeare, and where he gets all of his influences from, and again, background. And then the last part, grade book, and this is very important, all right, is when we go into Act 1, Scene 1, all right? At the end of the very last unit, when we go to the end of section 3, it will tell you exactly what your next assignment is, all right? So what you're going to be reading coming up, right? Also, here is a study guide. So if you're looking for the actual writing, you can click here and that will give it to you, right? You can also find audio versions online for free, so I do encourage that. But then here's also a study guide. I would strongly encourage you to either copy and paste all of these questions into a Google Doc and start a study guide. Just make sure that you keep the title copied and pasted, because when it comes time to the final, you are more than welcome to use this, and there is a lot of very specific stuff. And one of the nice things about study guides is that it also kind of lets you support what you've learned throughout. And these study guides do a really nice job of starting at the beginning and working to the end. Okay, so I do encourage you to do that. All right. So again, all I want you to do this week is just email me, or just put on a private comment or a public comment, and tell me which version of the film you're going to watch, if you're going to watch any. All right. We'll talk soon. Thanks. Bye.